I'm Travius Stewart, and I want to help you move past barriers and obstacles that are preventing you from getting what you want in life. This is Breakthrough. Yo, what's up, my peeps? Happy Podcast Tuesday. And for some reason, Podcast Thursday used to have, I feel like, such a better ring. But you know what? I got some advice from a podcast coach that said the earlier in the week that you release the podcast episodes, that could make a difference. So again, I'm always experimenting with things. So here we go. It's Podcast Tuesday. So before I jump in, I want to share with you last week. Today I'm recording this podcast episode the day before it comes out. Today is August 28th. It'll come out tomorrow, August 29th. Well, last week I had the honor of being the closing keynote speaker for the New Paths Conference. And my peeps, this was my very first keynote. And, I spoke for about an hour and 15 minutes. And there's just something that comes alive within me. Like there's sometimes when I go, I'm always prepared. I practice, my main points. But for some reason, there's something that comes alive in me that it's like once I get on stage, boom, I just go. It's like I hit another gear. And that is one reason why I know that that's where I belong. I've always loved talking to people. I've always loved connecting, but I firmly believe that I have a message that is worth sharing. I have a message that so many people need to hear because it was planted within me. And just the adrenaline that flows while I'm up there, I know that this is a God-given gift. I know that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I just wanted to share with you guys that, we're doing it. We're making it happen. And so that is my happy place. And so as I jump into today's episode, I want to talk about the crucial path of loving yourself first before others. And, I work with, some, religious, Christian, Bible-based people who believe that, love your neighbor like you're supposed to be so selfless first and love other people and live for other people because that's the way that God wants you to be. But if I'm going to get spiritual here, the thing about it is God doesn't want you to love people better than you love yourself, because we can't fully love someone else until we fully love ourselves. I 100% believe that again, we cannot pour from an empty cup. We cannot, do all the things that we want to do and show up in the way that we want to show up in our life by loving others more than we love ourselves. So as we now begin to uncover this level of self-love, it shapes how we connect with others. And so let's talk about what self-love is. It's like you are giving yourself a big high five. You are giving yourself the hug that you need. You are giving yourself what you need that fills your cup before you can go out and give and be with other people and connect on a level that you really want to connect to. And it's valuing yourself in a way that fills you up. You guys hear me talk so many times about what's your number, on a scale of 1 to 10. I like to get up and fill my cup and do all the things that I need to do that get me to about a 9, because a 10 is what I'm feeling when I am the keynote speaker. A 10 is what I'm feeling when I have a mic and I'm standing up there and I'm trying, and my goal is to impact and change lives. That's where my 10 is. So Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, I want to be a 9. And so the way that I view that, self-love is not about being selfish. It's not about, being like, a selfie taking narcissist who is always, let's just talk about me. Let's take all the pictures about me. That's not what I'm referring to here. I'm referring to how can you get yourself up to a number on a scale of 1 to 10 in the morning, very first thing, in creating yourself, which means how do you want to show up before you interact with other people? And so the self-love that I'm talking about is knowing how you work and what are the things that make you happy and that make you feel the way that you want to feel before you go out, before you leave the house, before you interact with other people, is your self-love. And so one of the most important things that I want you to really take away from this episode is you have to know how you work. Just like a car engine, just like a car, if everything is running fine and you're able to drive from point A to point B, you get out and nothing's wrong. But the second a check engine light comes on, now we begin to pay attention. Now we're like, oh, my gas is, I need more gas. I need air in the tires. I need, I need an oil change. And so I want you to know yourself so well to where when you fill your cup, when you get yourself up to a 9, or maybe for you it's a 10, or maybe it's a little lower, I want you to know when your check engine light comes on, which again can look like, a tight chest. You are, rapid breathing, shallow breathing, but you feel this level of stress and anxiety that you don't necessarily feel when you are like a 9, when you're like, I'm on top of the world. I'm feeling so good right now. And then once you fill that cup, self-love, in my honest opinion, is the second you notice a check engine light coming on, that you take a moment, that you go, okay, what is it that I need right now to fill my cup back up? And sometimes we have to do that. I mean, there's sometimes during the day where I might wake up as a 9, and then by 1 o'clock, I'm like, my brain is drained and I'm feeling lethargic. And so I may need to go in there and like do a quick workout. I may need to go in there and, maybe get an energy drink, or maybe I just need to sit and meditate for a moment. And so giving yourself what you need is you filling your cup in the form of self-love, because we cannot fully give to someone else before we give to ourselves. Because what happens is so many times, I have, one of my closest friends, and I'm, want to be there for her for this very, very difficult time that she's going through in her marriage. And if I could just change one thing about how she's dealing with this, is I would love to help her increase her level of self-love, because she is of the mindset that you're supposed to just give. And then when she's giving to other people, she's giving to her kids, she's giving to her husband, what is left for her? And so when you just give, and then now let's say you've given everything that you can to everybody during the day, and then you come home, and what is it that's going through your mind at night? Are you thinking, I gave all I had to give, and now what? Am I just exhausted? Am I worn out and I got nothing left for myself? And so what is it that you are doing that gives to you? Like it's August 28th today, and school is going to be starting for a lot of people. Here in Arizona, school already started, a lot of states, but I know up north, school starts like after Labor Day. And there is, I have a few clients who have kids in school. And so the whole summer, it's all about, what can I do with the kids? What can I do with the kids? Well, then by the time the kids go back to school, now what's your week look like? Especially if you don't have a job, if you're not working. Now what's your week look like? Because you wrapped up every bit of your happiness into what am I doing with my kids? What am I doing with my husband? And now those people go off and do some things in life. And now what does your time look like when it's just you at home? What does your time look like when it's like, how am I going to spend my time? What is it that I want to do? And so there's so many times that we lose touch of our dreams and our desires because we put them all into other people. And so what I really want to hone in on today is building a better relationship, an authentic relationship, a fulfilling relationship with you. And so the thing about it is it is paramount. It is so important that you love yourself first. I'm not talking about just, a fuzzy feeling, I love myself. This is a game changer. It's a game changer for your mental and emotional well-being because we're not just putting all our apples in somebody else's basket. We are filling our own cup so that we can better serve, so that we can better be there, so we can better parent, so we can be a better spouse, a better partner. And so I want you to think about it like giving yourself like a mini spa day, because we want to catch these things before all the dominoes have fallen over and you realize your cup has holes in it and it's just, you're filling it, but you waited so long to practice that level of self-love and self-care that you need to where your metaphorical cup has holes in it. And no matter how much, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to work out, I'm going to go and get me an iced coffee, I'm going to go to the spa, it's temporary because you are working and running on fumes. And so having a high level of self-love also leads to lower stress. It's just having a brighter outlook on life. You love yourself first and, you're just happier. And then one of the things that I find is sometimes difficult for even myself is I know I have a high degree of self-love, but every now and then I need to remember to have some self-compassion, that I need to remember how far I've come. I need to remember that I am my own best friend. I cheer myself on. And then there are times when things get uncomfortable where, I mess up. I, hurt someone's feelings. I don't say the right things. And it's having the self-compassion for myself and knowing that I'm human, that when you mess up, when things happen to you, you are human as well. And so when I talk about self-love, the next gear of that is having a passion. So when I was talking about, a lot of the kids are going back to school right now, some of my clients and friends who are wrapping a lot of their energy and who they're being into their kids, into their husband, all the things instead of themselves. And I'm not saying all of it is for you, but again, if you're pouring from a full cup, you just have more to give. So the next gear is talking about, well, what is a passion? What is something that lights you up? So when your kids go back to school, so when your husband's at work, your wife's at work, whatever the thing is, whenever you are home by yourself, are you just sitting there twiddling your thumbs? Are you going, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I love doing that lights me up, that helps me to grow and evolve? Because I always believe if we're not growing, we're dying, just like flowers. Flowers just don't stay the same. They're either growing or they're dying. And, I'm in Arizona right now and I'm looking out of the window as I record this podcast episode. And a lot of our plants and trees, because it doesn't rain much and it's supposed to be monsoon season, are dying because the grass in the front yard looks like straw. And so what needs to happen with your passions? What needs to happen in order for you to love and be excited to get up every single day and be excited for the day? Because growth is a lifelong journey. We want to fill in the time that every single day matters. And how will you love your life? It's doing the things that light you up. When you fill your cup, it's self-love, it's being self-compassionate, and it's helping you to practice a high level of well-being, right? Setting those healthy boundaries, putting your well-being first, whether it is your health is first, whether it is your faith is first. How are you demonstrating to everyone in your life, to everyone you want to be an example for, that you love yourself, that you are pouring from a full cup? And if they were to take notice, this would be the example that you want to set for them. And I believe there's a magical intersection between your level of self-love and loving others. And it's when you love yourself, I believe you become like a magnet. What you give out, you attract. I believe when you love yourself, you're not always complaining, you're not nitpicking. Your connections with others become more authentic and fulfilling, because there's just, a certain energy that you're radiating and being so self-assured, because it isn't about being isolated. It's about creating deeper connections. And I 100% believe that when you put your well-being first, when you up your level of self-love, all of your relationships, your romantic relationships, your friendships, I believe begin to blossom in a way that you are creating and raising the bar to how you want to be treated and how you want to treat other people. And so it's having the respect and care for yourself enough to create the space for what's truly important. And so as I begin to wrap up this episode, I want you to think about, are you someone who gets up every single day and fill your cup before you go out there and give to others? If not, self-love is what you deserve to give yourself. Self-love, self-compassion, because we cannot pour from an empty cup. Give yourself the gift of loving yourself. Give yourself the gift of being there for yourself, of being compassionate when you fall and make mistakes. But give yourself the gift of not settling and living life through other people. Celebrating and being with other people and celebrating their wins is icing on the cake. So I want you to really think about, where is your level of self-love? And if you had to score it on a scale of 1 to 10, is it a 10? Is it a 7? And then ask yourself, if it's a 7, what can I do to bring it closer to a 10? And that's where I want you to start with today's episode. Get it closer to a 10, or, whatever number you feel like resonates with you today. All right, my peeps, that's a wrap for today's episode. And you know what? Just like Southwest Airlines, like all the airlines, I know you have a lot of podcasts that you can be listening to. Those of you who continually show up, maybe today's your first time hearing, my podcast. I appreciate you for showing up. I appreciate you for allowing me to come into your ears for, a little bit of time each week. And I would love to hear from you, to create some dialogue going back and forth. So I would love to hear about your journey, your self-love journey, or, journey of discovery, and how it shaped you and your relationship, and how your level of self-love helps you to show up in your life. Shoot me an email at travia@traviastewart.com, or shoot me a direct message on Instagram, or on LinkedIn, and share your self-love, self-compassion journey with me. I love to connect, because those of you who listen regularly know love and connection is one of my top 3 values. All right, my peeps, we'll talk next week.